Hello, and welcome to episode 12. Today, we're going to talk about time management, and I'm going to keep it short and quick for you today. But first, I always just love talking about things that go on in normal life because, as a life coach, I think that people think that my life is perfect, and it could not be farther from the truth. I am here staying late at my office. My office is outside of my house today because our AC went out. Our air conditioning unit went out 2 days ago. And so we have completely replaced it. My husband's home and they're like gutting everything. But when I get home, it'll be nice and cool and toasty. So just want to ask you, have you ever had to get your AC replaced? It is an unexpected expense that comes up in life, happens to the best of us. There's nothing we can really do. These things just happen. So we have house expenses, we have car expenses. Let me know if you can relate in the comments. But let's just dive into time. I got invited to speak about time management to a group of real estate agents this week. And because of that, I decided to make this a quick intro to time management, my thoughts about it, and then also an invitation to a longer training. So I'm doing an in person training this week. I'm also doing a live training online on Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. And you can find the link to sign up for that to get way more info about time management. So here's what I just want you to first think about. People that meditate will understand this. People who have had a baby will understand this. People who have their dog that they really, really love will understand this. I want to start with the idea that time can be manipulated through our presence and our focus. And I want you to think about when you've been meditating for a while, or you've been in a yoga class or a sound bath, two things happen. The first thing that can happen is you feel like you went off into alternate time and space and you like went to a place where there's no time and you could have sat there for 40 minutes and thought it was only 10 minutes, right? That can happen. And there's other times in our life that our perception will influence time, right? So, a perfect example is if you ever put popcorn in the microwave and you're sitting there watching it, like the 90 seconds to 2 minutes that it could take for popcorn because you're so excited and so ready to watch the movie, this can affect your experience of time. So, I want you to think about time as a concept, and I want you to just ask yourself, are you telling yourself that you do not have time? And if you're human, we probably all fall into this pattern. We tell ourselves two things: I don't have time, I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money. Okay. We consider these to be a limited resource. And then because we consider them to be limited, we speak about them in a limited way. So I want you to first, as you're learning about managing time, which all it is prioritizing the actions that you're going to take in your given set of working hours. I want you to start saying, I'm learning how to prioritize things that are important to me. So instead of telling yourself, I don't have time, I'm learning how to prioritize things that are important to me. So here are your 3 tips today. I'm going to start with tip number 1. So instead of just thinking about this long list of to dos, the tasks, the things that are on your list, I want you to start with thinking about time in terms of your vision and your identity. So, what does this mean? If you have a vision to become really healthy and fit and run a 5K, then that vision will require you to put time to set aside time on your calendar to run your 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 miles in order to train for that 5K. If you have a vision of becoming a 6-figure business owner, you will need to plan time for your sales and marketing in order to achieve those goals in your business. So you first have to think about your vision, right? Like, what do I want to achieve and why? And notice that when we're thinking about our year, we break it down quarterly, usually, right? Like you set aside 3 to 4 months to work on 1 or 2 goals. So you think about my vision right now, what do I want to create, what do I want to achieve? And then we think about your identity and your identity. So the way to think about this, number 1 is ask yourself, what is your big goal or vision for the future? And then the second piece is your identity, which is who you are. Right now, if you look at the money in your bank account, you are someone who creates that amount of money by the way that you manage your time. If you are someone who has a certain level of extra weight on your body or you're not able to run the 5K, then you are the person who uses their time to create that result. So when you're thinking of managing your time, you want to thinking about it as an identity. So who would you need to be in order to have that? And I was just coaching a client on this week. I was talking to this person about their future vision. And most people, I think, have this vision of like, I want to make 10K per month, right? I want to have a 6-figure business. And a 10K per month is $120,000 in your business, right? And I remember I was talking to this person about their marketing and, how much they're showing up, how many offers they're making, how they're showing up online and on TikTok and on Instagram and on Facebook. What are they offering? What are they selling? How many times are they selling it? And they said, oh, well, I do it like a few times a week, like when I remember. And I said back to this person, do you think that someone making 10K per month only thinks about their business as an afterthought? And they said, no. I said, perfect. Now you see the work that we need to do, right? If your goal is to grow your business, then you have to set aside time for your sales and your marketing and your delivery, period. So as you're thinking about this, what I want you to think about is what is going to deliver the quickest results to me? What is the big rock? Like, what is the big boulder that you can push down or move over that's going to make everything else easier? So maybe it's creating a new morning routine. Maybe it is deciding to show up on social media every day, first thing every morning, right? Maybe it's getting up and walking in the morning. Whatever it is, you want to be thinking about your identity and your vision, and then start thinking about what's the biggest thing that I could do that's going to help me shift into that identity and move me closer to that vision. All right, tip number 2. We want to think about shrinking the goal. I know this is crazy, but I have a lot of clients, especially, that when they have a big goal, they are thinking about something in the future and they're trying to be there now. And I just talked about this client, like this person was like, I want to have a team. I want to have a business. I want to have a team. I want to have like a social media manager or marketing manager. And I said, that is great. But you have to think about where you are right now. So you want to shrink the habit, like shrink the goal. Think about where you are right now and celebrate all the small wins. So instead of thinking I need to do a big time block, like a big chunk of time, I need to create a big content calendar, I need to have a team, I want you to take it back to basics. So start smaller than you think. If you want to make more reach outs in your network, if you want to have more coffee chats, start with one. If you want to make a social media post and you're doing one this week, start with adding in another one and then celebrate it. Celebration can be so simple, placing a hand on your heart, saying, I did it. And this is going to give you that little moment of dopamine. That dopamine is the reward that drives our consistency. Now, a client may not be on the other end of that, but when you tell yourself, I'm doing a good job consistently, and you're noticing your small incremental progress, these are called tiny habits. And what happens is this is what builds your momentum. So people will get stuck in their time when they are thinking it's all or nothing. I either need to have a content calendar or I can't do anything. I either need to have all this time blocked off or I can't do anything. I would rather you think about what if this were easy? What if this were easy for me to make a post? What would I do? What if I took away a lot of the barriers in my way? What if I made it even easier? So think about making it easier, bringing that goal or that habit, making it a little smaller, and then celebrating it. Instead of telling yourself, I'm not good at managing time, start with, where am I good at managing time? Recognize yourself for where you already are managing your time. Because the truth is, all of us do have some habits and you may want to shift them. For example, if you're really good at scrolling on TikTok, you know that you're subconsciously, unconsciously time blocking TikTok. So now you can decide, oh, I'd actually rather do stretching or a workout or go for a walk instead of that TikTok time. Okay? Things to think about. All right. And then time tip number 3. I want you to think about your calendar as if you are your future self. So we talked about this a little bit before. But you want to think about what your non-negotiables are. So you can think about this like calendaring like a boss, or you can think about it like having an aligned calendar. And what I like to start with is your self-care, your morning and evening routines, your spiritual practices, whether it's going to church or being in a community, your time with your family. Schedule those things first. Then ask yourself, what is my bare minimum? What is the baseline that I need to be doing? And if you are in a business, then your client delivery, right? Following up with current clients, your marketing and sales, reaching out to future clients, those are going to be your baselines. So you want to be thinking, is this an income producing activity or is it just busy work? Another question to ask yourself, what can I delegate? A lot of times, I just coached another client on this last week. She has an assistant and she was having this problem with having too many texts coming through, feeling like she needed to respond to all these texts, and they're her potential clients, so she didn't want to leave them hanging. She wanted them to feel important. So I asked her, could your assistant take care? What could your assistant be taking care of? And we came up with an entire list of what her assistant is really good at, and she'll be able to get back to them quicker, and she will still be able to feel like her clients are cared for. So, a lot of times we are not delegating things. This includes delegating like your laundry, your house cleaning. There are certain things in your life that you can delegate because your hourly rate, right? If you're working in a business, you're working with clients, right? You landed the sale, you got the commission. You got to think about your hourly rate and using your brain for things that are going to make you money, or taking your time to use things that just feel good to you. And anything else, think about if you can eliminate it or delegate it. So you want to start where you are. Start with prioritizing self-care, morning, evening routines, family time, spiritual time. Then when you go to put things on for your work, you want to focus on prioritizing income producing activities, things that actually are going to move the needle. And then, is there anything you can take off your calendar? Is there anything you can delegate? Is there anything that you can make easier by outsourcing it? I think about this a lot. A lot of times a lot of my clients will spend a lot of time in this app called Canva. And this is where we do our marketing and we do our design. And I notice that a lot of people get stuck in there. So I just had this talk with myself today. I said, okay, how could I make this easier? How can I make this more basic? And I went and found a template and I said, you have 12 minutes to make this. And I gave myself literally 12 minutes to make it. I emailed it, I sent it off, and it was done. It was for an event. And I noticed that my brain wanted me to keep looking for the perfect template, but that is just a procrastination technique. So, in summary, when we look at time, all that's happening is a whole bunch of drama in our minds. That is it. So, when you think about somebody who's using their time really well, that means they're managing their emotions and their focus and they're directing themselves really well. Now, I will say a caveat for a couple of things. There are a lot of very masculine people on YouTube. And when I say masculine, it just means do, productive, 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 go, go, go. That is never what I'm saying. Notice that what I believe is going to be sustainable for you is if your nervous system gets to rest and relax and reset. And I call this productive relaxation. So remember, life is not just about productivity. Life is about inner peace and connection and enjoying time with loved ones and sometimes just doing nothing. So also take time to schedule in doing nothing. And if you want to learn more about this, if you want to dive even deeper, then go ahead and sign up for my free training. It's called Mastering Your Time, the High Achiever's Guide to More Focus, Fulfillment, and Freedom. Sign up for it now. You'll have access to the replay for 7 days. And on the back end of that, if you're watching this now or in the future, I also have a special offer for those of you who are wanting to learn how to manage your time better. This includes one-on-one coaching with me, 30-minute calls over a period of 10 weeks. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and book a free consult. Let me know that you're here interested in time management, and I will help you figure out what is getting in the way of that. I will see you all next week.